Coming up on Guys Talking Sports, it's Carolina, it's Denver, it's the Super Bowl. We give our takes on what's going to happen at the Super Bowl. We're also going to talk about the NBA news. Did you know that the Cleveland Cavaliers fired David Blatt? Did you know that Tyronn Lue is now the new head coach, and with just 3 games is now the Eastern Conference All-Star? Coach, it's Adrian Catwell, it's myself, Al Qualls, and it's Guys Talking Sports, and it's coming up right now. Everybody, this is Guys Talking Sports. I'm your host, Al Qualls, and welcome to another edition of Guys Talking Sports. We got a great panel today, and we're going to discuss about what's going on in the world of sports this week. So let's kick it off. First, I want to say welcome my guest host with me, Adrian Catwell. So what's going on, man, Adrian? How you doing?
Man, just recovering from all this snow. Never seen 30 inches at one time in life, so that was an experience, and I hope I never see 30 inches again like that in a very long time.
No, I the other day that, hey, if we get it, we should just get hit with it just one time, and then no more snow for the rest of the winters. I was like, to be honest, that's something I wouldn't mind having. Just if we get hit, just get hit once, and that's it.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So let's get started. We got lots to talk about, so we're gonna dive right into it. We're gonna talk about. Let's start with the Super Bowl. Now that we have the teams in, you have Carolina Panthers, of course, with Cam Newton, and you also have Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. So let me get your takes on the Super Bowl and the 2 teams that are remaining right now.
Yeah, well, you got one of the GOATs, one of the greatest to ever play, in Peyton, a very talented and Denver Broncos team, especially on the defensive side, versus up and coming face of the NFL. You might as well just say Cam Newton is that dude, with playing a very dynamic offense and a defense that's I think is clearly underrated. The way they just dominated Arizona in the NFC Championship game, I didn't even see that sort of a domination coming, especially with the Arizona having the #1 offense in the NFL. So we're in line for a dandy of a Super Bowl, and I think that Carolina will come on top. They'll come out victorious. I can't say a score because I believe that Denver's defense is top notch. But if Carolina plays within their strengths, if they use that read option and their offense the way they've been running it, and just play free and play loose, and I don't see Denver stopping them enough to stop them from winning the Super Bowl.
No, I definitely agree with that. I thought it was going to be a close game with Arizona and Carolina, but then after seeing the halftime score, it just made me realize how I just believe that this is Carolina's year. No disrespect to like you said, the greatest of all time, and Peyton Manning, and this may be his final hurrah to go for the Super Bowl, but I just feel as though that the Carolina Panthers are like so hungry right now to go all the way and complete what has obviously been a great season for them. When you think about it, with only 1 loss, this team has been on a tear.
Oh, just think if Carolina had Kelvin Benjamin, the top wide receiver. Think about he's coming back, and they'll probably go after a wide receiver or 2 in the draft, because you can only get so much out of Cotchery. You can only get so much out of some of these other guys. As long as they keep their core intact, they keep their offensive line happy, and they keep those core people on defense, Carolina's going to be a team to reckon with for quite some time. I can see they can have a nice little run, a little 2 to 4 year run where they're just dominating the NFL.
But then again, we said the same thing about the Seattle Seahawks.
True, but think about it. They had a 3-year domination, so to speak, because the 1 year San Fran went to the Super Bowl, but they played Seattle in the championship game. Then the 2 years that Seattle went to the Super Bowl, so they had their 3-year run. Not to say that their aspirations are over, but Carolina is clicking, and as long as Cam is improving, and you can show that he is improving immensely. I mean, the dude is just in rarefied air. I mean, I think it was Steve Young who says that, and it wasn't even Steve. I think Steve Young is just praising all of what Cam is doing, but through 5 years, through Cam Newton's first 5 years versus Steve Young's first 5 years, the numbers are almost identical. And you see where Steve Young is now, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winning quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Cam, man, incredible. That's all I can say.
No, I agree. And it's funny because when Cam first came into the league, of course, there was always talk about his arrogance and if he's willing to follow what the ideal quarterback should be, prototype should be, staying in the pocket. And it seems that he has grown from where he started in the beginning when he first came into the league to where he is now. And I think he's gotten more of a mature level as far as understanding what he needs to do. He's still a little bit arrogant sometimes, and people may too cocky, but I think at this particular point, the best way to stop the cockiness is to beat them. And truth be told, there's really no one that hasn't done that yet, at least this season.
Well, I don't know if Cam is too cocky, so to speak.
No, I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying from what people are saying about him. There's been writers and, of course, social media where a lot of people are criticizing that, he's doing like too much celebration and all those type of things that he does with the DAP and, of course, with the photos of the team, and they feel as though it's a little too much.
I just think that's how millennials, that's how whatever that term is now, these young groups, the young generation, this carefree generation, that's just how they act. I mean, Cam is just being Cam. I don't think that, it's a bad thing. I think that what he's doing is infectious within the team, and that the team is embracing Cam's this love of football, his enjoyment of the game, and his dominance. I mean, he isn't going out there proclaiming that I'm going to drop 50 points a game on or whatever, and I'm going to dominate this team or whatever. He doesn't speak any of those things. He just goes out there and plays the game. And it just so happens that when they're playing and when they're on offense, Carolina is this, unless Cam, like during the NFC Championship game, throws an errant throw where he overthrew his open receiver, and Patrick Peterson got the interception. I mean, unless he does something that's uncharacteristic and he plays within the system of the offense, I don't see how people can look at that as saying that he's being arrogant or whatever. I mean, he's just playing within the offense and the flow, and it's just working. I mean, I was listening to The Drive on 92.7 WF. What do they call themselves? Sports radio station here, ESPN 980 for the Redskins. And during the drive, Chris Cooley, who used to play tight end for the Redskins, he's part of that radio show. He was breaking down the Carolina offense. And he was just saying, like, how it was just a beautiful thing to watch. And how it's a team that embraced that style of offense, that read option style of offense, and maturated it over the course of years, where it's a thing of beauty. And he kind of looked at where in 2012, when RG3 came into the league and took the league by storm, because Shanahan had this idea of this type of offense and where it could transcend the league and just be something so dynamic, so unstoppable. And he was just saying that if RG3 would have just went in there with the mindset that saying this is the offense that we want to run, he could have seen where the Redskins could be where Carolina is now. And it was just crazy to hear him say that. You know, it was just, you got to have a willingness of a QB to run this type of offense. And the fact that Cam wants to run it and he's good at it, you know, that's what makes him so unstoppable.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But it'll be also interesting to see how this will be for this season for Carolina, because, I mean, this game will be for Carolina because this will solidify the hard work that they've accomplished. And not to knock off what Denver has done, because Denver basically, for them to get to where they are right now, and when you think about it, at the middle of the season, you know, they was all talking about benching Peyton Manning for Osweiler, and that now when Peyton Manning comes back, to see that now he's playing in the Super Bowl. That's a remarkable story for the Broncos as well. And it's interesting to see that, you know, because Peyton Manning is like 40 years old, I believe. And he's the oldest quarterback right now to play the quarterback the Super Bowl, which is a remarkable feat. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams will come together as they clash for the Super Bowl. I still pick Carolina to win it because I just believe as though it just feels like it's Carolina's season. It's Carolina's game for them to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to discredit Denver and their defense. I mean, they're definitely not going to make it easy. But the read option and that style of offense is such a difficult style of offense to prepare for. You know, there's so much going on. You know, I think it'd be very difficult for Denver to completely shut them down. And even if they do shut them down initially, I think Carolina has the makeup to sit there and make the adjustments when needed to counter anything that Denver might throw their way. So I think it'll be a good game, but I honestly believe in my gut, I think Carolina wins by at least 10. And I don't know how much of a beating Peyton Manning could take, especially if Carolina's defense plays lights out like they did against Arizona. I mean, they were after Carson Palmer. I mean, they were sacking him, forced fumbles, interceptions, had him rattled. And I'm not saying Peyton's not the easiest dude to rattle because, I mean, he's just so masterful at the line of scrimmage, checking out of a particular offense and making sure that he's in the right offensive play based on what he's seeing on defense. But, I mean, the speed of Carolina, I don't know if he's seen that type of speed on defense outside of him going, in the practice against his own number one defense in the NFL. And they're not going to take it out as badly as they would on a different team. You know, they're not going to hit Peyton Manning or Brock Osweiler. You know, they want to make sure that they can run their offensive plays, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's going to be a very interesting game, and it's one of those things where this is going to be a different. It's an interesting clash. That's how I see it. It's really. I'm interested to see how this game develops, and I'm very interested to see how it develops overall as far as the offensive mindset, defensive mindset on both teams, and see if there's any adaptability as the game progresses.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So it will be interesting to see how It'll be interesting to see how the chess match unfolds between the two. Honestly, I don't think Carolina's going to do anything different. I think Carolina's going to go out there. Ron Rivera is going to give Cam the ultimate freedom to do what he wants, how he wants to, run the offense that he sees fit, and just let it run and see where it takes them. I mean, it's gotten them this far. Why change up the formula now?
No, I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. But like I said, that's something that we'll see. We have another week to talk about this and make more predictions about the Super Bowl. So we're gonna cut off on for NFL for now, and I definitely wanted to get into the stories that's been going on in the NBA. And basically, nothing is more, I guess, newsworthy than this situation in Cleveland with the firing of David Blatt to Tyronn Lue being now the head coach of the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Before I give my take on it, I just wanted to get your take on the David Blatt firing. Any thoughts or anything any opinions that you might want to add?
It's unfortunate. I mean, he led the team to an NBA championship, the NBA Finals, I should say, despite all the injuries and things that were going on. I don't know, you hear all the rumors and you hear all the different things about, LeBron was, aka, the coach of the team, and Blatt didn't have that much input, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what really to believe about all that. I know, I was hearing on the radio that LeBron has a very high NBA IQ. So, it's kind of hard to ignore his knowledge of the game and, things of that nature. But I don't think David Blatt's a bad coach. I think he might just got on the raw end. He was on the short end of the stick on this particular situation. Tyronn Lue, he's inherited a very talented team, but I guess it's no different than Spoelstra back down in Miami. He kind of got thrusted into a very talented team and kind of had to manage, the weather the storm to get the best out of those teams to win those championships that he won down in Miami. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how things progress down after the All-Star break. And I don't know if they play Golden State again. I don't think they do. I think they only play them twice. But let's see how they play. I mean, I'm interested to see. I did hear how Tyronn Lue said that he wanted to play a more up-tempo pace, but also feed Kevin Love in the post. So I'm curious to see if they get Love back into that whole thing where they feed him in the post and see how that goes. It was also interesting to see the last game that LeBron only took 8 shots, but they blew out whoever they played. I don't even know who they played. Obviously, it wasn't anybody any good. But if LeBron can take 8 shots and they still blow people out, then that means the offense is doing something. So I'm curious. I don't know. If Lue turns around and wins 20 games in a row, then they might have caught on to something, or they just got hot at the right time. Not to say that Blatt, if it were on the Blatt, that they couldn't win 20 games in a row. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious about how it all goes down.
Okay. Okay. I've really been sitting back, just paying attention. David Blatt was a dead, quote unquote, dead man walking. And it's funny because this is not really David Blatt's fault. David Blatt was hired way before anybody even knew that LeBron was going to be coming back to Cleveland. So what the purpose was that David Blatt was supposed to bring an up-tempo offense to Cleveland that had the likes of Kyrie Irving, that was thinking about, that had the number 2 pick in Andrew Wiggins. That was the concept of bringing David Blatt in, was to run the pace more, to make it like a more up-tempo offense. No one didn't realize James was coming back until after the fact. So when LeBron James is coming back to Cleveland, everybody's saying, okay, we need to do this. You know, this is going to work out great. Then you throw in the mix of Kevin Love, because, of course, they felt as though that Kevin Love would be that Chris Bosh type of player that, you know, similar to the situation in Miami.
Right.
So that's when they traded away Andrew Wiggins to Minnesota. Here's the dilemma I have. Let's be honest. To be honest, I don't have a problem with them firing David Blatt. I don't have a problem with it at all. You know, that's management. That's fine. That's not the issue. The issue I have is the fact that, you know, and the reports are about LeBron saying that, you know, he never disrespected the coaches that he's been around with, but yet there's already been proven talks that he was making up drawing plays, taking himself out of games. Like, if all that is true, and I'm not saying that it is or not, but hurting himself, LeBron is hurting himself in what he is saying. He could have easily just, you know, I guess I'm more critical about what LeBron said. If he would have just not said anything and say, you know, it's the nature of the business, you know, the management felt as though they needed to go the right direction, everything would be cool. But to say what he said, I think, is what got under a lot of people's skin, and it's just discrediting LeBron James as a whole. Now, like I said, I don't blame the firing. You know, David Blatt just got the raw end of us. You know, it was just a bad mix all around, and I don't fault David Blatt for, you know, because all in all, they was winning. They're on top of the Eastern Conference, so it was just crazy the fact that they would fire a coach. And it's funny because they fired a coach that has the best record in the Eastern Conference, but the Philadelphia 76ers, who have the worst record, gave their. So this NBA thing is just really like chaotic. And with Cleveland, it seems as though that, you know, they're trying to do something where they're trying to judge on how they play the Western Conference teams. They're not worried about the Eastern Conference teams, because we all know for a fact that until some major move takes place, they're going to be right back in the Eastern Conference Finals. They already know that. Like I said before, I'm not going to give them the Eastern Conference championship just yet. I still believe Toronto may give them a run, but that's neither here nor there. David Blatt was just, the players didn't respect David Blatt as a coach. That's just plain and simple. And when the players don't respect the coach, the head coach, it's just a matter of time. And Tyronn Lue, you know, I understand that he was the associate head coach. I understand that the players gravitate to him. I understand him being the pick for the head coach. I have no problem with that. I have a problem conference all-star coach when he only coached in reality 3 games. That's the issue I have with. Adam Silver said that, you know, it's based on the Eastern Conference, the record. It's based on the record. Whoever has the best record, the coach should be coaching. If that is the case, and you're telling me, because David Blatt coached 95% of that team to get them there, and Tyronn Lue only coached 5%, but yet he is the Eastern Conference all-star coach. If that is the case and it's based on the best record, how is it that Greg Popovich, who is the head coach of the Spurs, is in and not Steve Kerr or Luke Walton for the Warriors? The Warriors have a better record than the Spurs right now. So if Adam Silver is basing on that, I would be more content if he said, you know, Tyronn Lue, Steve Kerr, or Luke Walton is the coach for the Western Conference. It makes sense because the best record, the coach with the best record, of course, is coaching the All-Star game. It is so flip-flop. Like, me personally, Dwayne Casey should have had every that should have been my vote for the Eastern Conference. That should have been the vote for the Eastern Conference All-Star. If the game is in Toronto Raptors is the second best team in the Eastern Conference by far, which is surprising to a lot of people. And I felt so that Dwayne Casey would have been a primary, especially after the situation with David Blatt. So that would have been a perfect opportunity for Dwayne Casey to coach the Eastern Conference All-Stars. I'm just saying that there's no consistency here. Now, unless I'm wrong where the Spurs taking over the Warriors as far as the standings is concerned, it should be the coach of the Warriors who is coaching the Western All-Star games, not Greg Popovich. And I'm not saying that Greg Popovich is not, he's the all-time great coach. I'm not saying that. He deserves to be in the name recognition as well. But Adam Silver can't explain that the record in the conference gives you you can coach the All-Star game when it's one-sided. So that's what really was throwing red flags. Now, I'm gonna check the standings again just to make sure, but I believe that the Warriors is still first in the Western Conference. So in all honesty, shouldn't Steve Kerr and Luke Walton be or Steve Kerr or Luke Walton be the coach for the Western Conference All-Stars? It's just so much, you're saying one thing, but it's not really true. And it kind of gets, I thought that Adam Silver was one of those people that's hard-nosed. And I'm not, saying that he's not. It's just that it throws a red flag when you're telling me something and obviously it's not true. Just like with LeBron James, when you're saying that, I never disrespect the coach and, I never done this to any coach in my career, but yet you walk out on plays and you take it upon play and you saying to yourself, no, we're not going with that play. I'm going to do this my way. That's sort of a disrespect. That's my vent. That's my rant.
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
It's unfortunate because, and I'm sorry, it's unfortunate because you're sitting here trying to explain to the world that it is not your doing or it is not your fault. But majority of the people don't believe what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So why even go? Why try to defend yourself sometimes? It makes things worse. Because people are not going to just because you say you didn't do it, people ain't going to just say, oh, well, if he said he ain't do it, then I'm going to believe you. They're not even saying that. They're like, yo, we know that what's the truth behind it. Like, we know that what you're saying is completely untrue. I mean, I just don't understand why there's not consistency. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be upfront about something, say, yeah, you know what? It didn't work out with the coach. I felt need to go to a better direction. I mean, well, management felt as though they need to go to a better direction. And to be honest, it may or may not work. At this point, it doesn't matter. I'm just focusing on the games ahead of me. Boom. It doesn't matter. I'm just focusing on what games we got in the game plan that we have. LeBron could have said that and just left well enough known. But now I'm hearing on Sirius XM, the NBA and stuff, that people are saying, no, we don't believe anything that you're saying right now coming out your mouth, that you're saying that you never disrespect the coach, when there's already signs and people are already, reporters and writers are already saying that they seen it firsthand, prove that you've done it. And they know that you've done it. It's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, if LeBron did it, all right. But I mean, he's not going to come out and boldface say, you know what? Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I'm not I got, what was the dude that coached the Cavs twice? He got fired twice.
Mike Brown.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing. Mike Brown didn't come out and say, at least to my knowledge, that he didn't come out and say, well, yeah, LeBron is the reason why I got fired. You know what I mean? It's because LeBron this or LeBron that.
No, I'm not saying no. Wait. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he needs to come clean or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that don't make like he could have just left well enough alone and said, hey, look, the management made a change. I'm not trying to dwell in the past. I'm just moving forward and working with the team and the coach and making sure we can do what's best.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been completely fine with it because he's focusing on that. But when you're defending yourself, you're trying to defend yourself. And, you already know that there's people out there that know that what you've done. And you know what I'm saying? And you still trying to defend you're trying to defend yourself. That just seems unnecessary worse. It's like saying, like if I have my son and he does something where he writes on the wall and he comes to me and say, well, I wrote on the wall because, whatever, because I felt as though I needed a place to write. Really doesn't matter because you still did it. You know what I'm saying? Your defense is, why are you defending it when we seen you write it on the wall? You know what I'm saying? Why defend it? Just accept it and say, you know what? LeBron could easily just said, you know what? It happened. We're trying to move forward. I'm not saying I'm accepting responsibility, but, it happened. Management handled it. Let's just move on and just focus on basketball. That would have been enough. People wouldn't be criticizing him on him trying to defend himself. It seems as though like he was so focused on defending himself when people was criticizing on him and not just letting things go.
True. Honestly, I don't think LeBron would have said a thing if that minority owner of the Heat didn't come out and say some crap, and then other reporters came out and started talking stuff. I think LeBron would have just stayed quiet. But I mean, him not addressing the issue would have made it look like it's even more guilty than what it probably is. So he had to say something, and I guess he could have went about it in a different way. And that's what I'm saying. Right. He definitely could have went about it a different way, right, where it's now, where it's not hurting him. It's not hurting his credibility as it is now. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. Like if he would have worded differently, or it would have been like he said it, where he said, "I never disrespect." Like he was adamant about it. Like I think that's what rubbed people the wrong way, when they know they saw firsthand that he's done it in the past. Right. If the wording was changed, I think that would have been less of a issue, if anything. But back to Adam Silver, like what he said just didn't make no sense at all, because Tyronn Lue should not be coaching after 3 games in an All-Star game. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. Like David Blatt did majority of that coaching, and just because he got fired and been replaced, you're going to tell me that any person that, even if they get fired a game before the All-Star break, if that person gets fired, you're going to tell me that after 1 game or no games, that person, whoever is assigned the head coach, or it could be interim, but whoever could be the head coach or whoever becomes the head coach can now coach in the All-Star game? I just find that laughable. Yeah, I guess they're looking at it as it's a team thing, not a coach thing, which is unfortunate because Tyronn Lue, necessarily wasn't the coach, but associate head coach. He still has some sort of a title within. He was still sort of kind of like the associate head coach, so he still has a little bit of something. So it's not like he was just some random ball boy, and they say, "Here, coach the team," and then all of a sudden, now he's been thrusted into this into the game as the coach of the All-Star game. But I see where it comes from both sides, but it's To me, does the All-Star game even really mean all that much? I mean, so what? He's the coach. So what? It's not like, and now correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow the NBA All-Star game like I do like baseball. You know, the winner of the All-Star game determines who has home field advantage in the
in
World
baseball.
Series in baseball. So I can see where, you know, having a particular coach can, because they have something to play for, so to speak. The NBA All-Star, I don't know if that's the case.
Nah, that's not the case. That's not the case at
Right.
all.
So I mean, it's just a show. I mean, they going up there, they put on a show for 3.5 quarters, and then they buckle down for like the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter to determine who the winner is. You know, and Lue, all you're gonna have is a slew of all-stars. So it's just a matter, you put this guy in, put that guy in, and then of course the 5 starters close out the end of the game, and boom, you're done. I'm more curious about what Lue could do over his first 20 games. You know, will he talk that talk that, yes, I'm going to implement this run and gun type of offense. I'm gonna implement, you know, getting Love down into the post more, so we could use him with, you know, with his back towards the basket, and utilize him the way he was when he was an all-star back in Minnesota. Am I going to make drastic changes that Blatt was doing, so that, you know, to see a different type of Cleveland squad? Now, if he does all of this talk and does all of that, and it turns out to be, wow, Cleveland went from a 32-12 team to now a 52-12 team, and it's all because of all these things that Lue implemented, then LeBron might have been onto something, and Tyronn Lue is maybe smarter than what most people would give him up for. You know what I mean? I
No,
mean,
I understand.
like Luke Walton. Like Luke Walton ain't doing nothing different than what Golden State was already doing. You know, he's just implemented the same type of offense Steve Kerr did, and it's just whatever. They're just out there running and gunning and playing free and having fun. You know, so it's easy when you have a team that dominant to do what they've been doing. Tyronn Lue, on the other hand, is trying to change the team's offense in a different direction. Now, if he could pull that off, then yeah, he has a pretty bright future as an NBA coach.
But that I guess that I'll put it like this: you convinced me in regards of, is it really a big deal for Tyronn Lue to coach the All-Star game at this point? You're probably right. I guess if it was more rewarding for any team, like if it was some type of incentive, then probably my views would probably stay the same. I just thought that it would, like, Adam Silver had an opportunity to make things right, as far as saying, okay, you know, we want to give it to somebody that's, well, you know, I guess I'm just more like, I understand. I guess I can understand both parts of it, but I guess it's just that it's the consistency just needs to be there. And like I said before, if Adam Silver was to say, you know what, Tyronn Lue, you know, he's the in the Eastern Conference, so it's his team for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Like I said before, the Warriors, I believe, still have the best record. So if he would have said that, if it was the Warriors coach, whether it was Kerr or Walton, instead of Popovich, then I would be more at ease to say, okay, now I understand your logic. The best record, you know, whoever the coach has the best record needs to be coaching the All-Star game. I can understand that. But that's the thing. I guess that's more of the meaning, the reasoning why I'm, you know, because it's just not consistent enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, it's not Tyronn Lue's fault. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, he was chosen to be in the position that he's in. So I'll grant that. I'll concede to that. I just like I said before, if the Warriors coach, one of the Warriors coaches were coaching the Western Conference All-Stars, then I concede to everything.
But I also heard that that Lue wanted Blatt to coach the All-Star game, but the NBA wouldn't allow it.
Say it again.
That Tyronn Lue wanted Blatt to coach the All-Star game, but the NBA wouldn't allow it to happen.
To be honest, I don't know. And if that is the trade, like I said, if that's the case, then you know what? So be it. I like I said, I'm not saying that Tyronn. I'm not making Tyronn Lue to be the bad person. That's not what I'm trying to do. Well, I'm just saying, as far as the NBA as the NBA as a whole, like the consistency needs to be there. I think that's my biggest argument out of everything. Like I said, I would concede to everything if the Warriors coach was the coach of any of the Warriors coach was the coach of the All-Star for the Western Conference, but that's not true. So Adam Silver's explanation of the team with the better record, should be coaching the All-Star game. That's just not true.
I see.
So if anything, than anything, I'm not knocking Tyronn Lue or David Blatt or whoever. It's just the statement, the consistency from executive from the NBA, the president, the NBA president. That is what's missing from my point of view. Like I said, I'll be okay with everything else if there was consistency there. And when he made that statement, it just showed it was a red flag.
Well, I'm sure this is something that they'll take into consideration probably going into the off season and try to make it so that if this should happen again, they'll probably make a change to the rule or something like that. I guarantee that they won't try to make a spectacle of this moving forward because it's drawing too much of a negative attention even towards them.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's completely true. And because now all the talks it's not really about the who got selected in the All-Star games. It's more of, what's going on in Cleveland and what can, the whole debacle of.
Right.
So hopefully this will simmer down and where it could just be solely focused on the All-Star. And I believe it will. I think this week was just that week of everything is just going crazy right now. So especially with all the news about how with the firing and with All-Star game coming up in Toronto, it's just be interesting to see how things play out. I believe that the Cleveland Mets will die down, and like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do start going on more of a run after they get used to the system, the new implemented system that Tyronn Lue may have for them. So I don't see them being, distracted or anything. And I still think that happens after that is based on what happens with the offense and the head coaching of Tyronn Lue.
Right.
So,
right.
All right. I'm done my rant. So
it'll definitely be interesting. I'm curious to see how Cleveland moves forward. Not so much. I don't really care so much about the All-Star game, but let me see Tyronn Lue's first 20 games. If they go 10-10, then definitely wasn't the best case. But if he goes 15-5 or 18-2, obviously that means the players are more receptive to him and his coaching style and what they're buying into his philosophy.
Well, I have to put a disclaimer in there because, I mean, they could do that in their sleep if they're going through the Eastern Conference. Right. I would love to see how this would play out when they play against the Western Conference powerhouses like the Golden State again, because I think they play Golden State again, as well as San Antonio Clippers. Like let's be honest. Like Cleveland's true test won't be until they play a Western Conference team powerhouse at this point.
I agree. So, but I mean, don't feel bad. I mean, San Antonio got blown out by Golden State. So I mean, it's not like the fact that Cleveland got blown out embarrassing type of blown out. I mean, San Antonio got blown out the same damn way, so it's not like Golden State is just feeling themselves right now.
No, the Warriors is on another level right now.
Right.
They're just on another level. So, like I said, I went. Like I said, I rather would see how Cleveland handles those Western Conference teams than anything. Like, we all know that they could beat majority of the they could beat the Eastern Conference teams with no problem. Like I said, I would love to see how Toronto handles them. To be honest, I would love to see them, Toronto, and to see how that plays out. But we could talk more about that down the road because, like I said, the All-Star game is coming up. To be honest, I don't know if I'm really gonna catch all of it. I'll probably catch bits and pieces of it. Like you said, to me, the All-Star game is just, it's not the same. It's not as entertaining as it was before, I guess. And I guess there's hopefully something. I hope something happens to a point. Maybe they may need to add an incentive so that it becomes more of an enjoyable game, and less, because without the defense, it's just like an offensive showcase. And I mean, at this point, we've seen, you've seen one All-Star game, you've seen all of them where they're just doing so many different things. And, I understand what the NBA is trying to do, but they need to do something a little bit more entertaining, because they're losing fans that want to see an actual competition, like with Kobe and when MJ and, people are actually literally playing to try to win the MVP trophy. So hopefully that happens. We could talk more about that, the NBA, down the road. But I'd like to thank Adrian Catwell for taking the time to provide some insight and what's going on in the world of sports, man. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and tell them where they can reach you at.
You can reach me on Twitter at Adrian Cat 1963. That's ADRIANCAT 1963 on Twitter.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. And you can also hit me at I am Al Quarles. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, pretty much all over the place. You can catch me on YouTube. All those YouTube subscribers, thank you very much, and keep letting other people know. I'd like to thank my guest host again, Adrian Catwell, for joining me. And check us out next week when we talk more sports, as we do all the time. And catch us, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes as well. Check out the links for that as well. Look out for more episodes of Guys Talking Sports. Well, again, I'd like to thank y'all for checking us out. And until next time, stay safe.